Hey, it's Kristen, and this is my video blog for week 6 of adult boot camp. So we're halfway through this process, and last week was a week of ups and downs for me. Um, I pulled a muscle in my hip stretching, like a really lame injury. It wasn't a cool injury or anything, and it was definitely giving me some noticeable problems during the boot camp drill at the end of class with the planks. Because when your hip is out of alignment, it makes your back hurt and your calves hurt, and so I was hurting a little bit last week. So that was a little bit of a downer, and I guess let's get all the bad stuff out of the way first. I got pulled in the back room on Tuesday night and talked to about consistency, and not for the first time, and and it's tough to hear that because it's hard not to hear like we don't think you're trying or um, it seems like you're lazy sometimes. But in a testament to how far I've grown in the last 6 months or so, once I had some time to like really process that conversation and think about it objectively, like I know sometimes when I'm sparring or something like that, someone will say like, "Oh, your feet are crossed or your hand dropped," and I have no idea I'm doing it because in my head, my hand is up here or my feet are perfectly spaced apart, and I have no idea that I'm actually tripping over my own feet. So I think sometimes in my head, like I think I'm going as hard as I can, and maybe I'm not. So um, I went back into class on Thursday, just slowing down in my head, not physically, but in my head a little bit, and kind of thinking like, well, if I was outside of my body watching this, does it look like I'm going as hard as I can? I might think I am, but am I actually doing it? So it's just a little bit of mind training, I guess. And not to skip around the whole week, but in the same vein, yesterday I went to Sunday morning sparring, and I got a ton of feedback from Sir Moore and Mr. DeZekin, and like a year ago, if I had gotten that much, I wouldn't call it negative feedback, but corrections, I probably would have taken it really personally and would have been like, why am I doing this? Maybe I should just quit. Maybe I'm not cut out for this, and I would have let it ruin my training experience. But now I just wrote down everything they said, and in the pointers I got from Sensei Machine last night during pad rounds, I just took that stuff, I wrote it down, and I'm going to bring it to class with me next time I come and use it, instead of just being like, oh, all these guys are being really critical and they don't like me. So yeah, so that was like a real learning experience last week. So it was both good and bad. Um, Thursday night we had a sparring seminar with Master Hesser. Um, And for the parts, there were some parts where he wanted us to work with people who are of similar rank and size, and other parts where we really were supposed to mix it up. I got to work with a brand new yellow belt, and I really got to help her out with sparring techniques, which was good for me learning leadership. And then for the sparring rounds themselves, I got to go with another black belt, Danielle, who's the same size as me. That doesn't happen hardly ever for me. It was really um, interesting to be paired up with someone in sparring who's of similar skills and size. So I felt like I learned a lot, and it was just good to be with someone my own size. Um, and speaking of sparring, I just want to talk about that for a minute. Very verbose today. Um, I used to not like sparring. I think it scared me, and it was pretty obvious when I tested for my first degree that sparring freaks me out, and it was a huge challenge. And now that I've been coming to sparring class regularly for about 8 or 9 months, um, I've learned to really like it and look at it differently, and now I'm like actively recruiting other women to come and people who are getting close to red belt, trying to really work on them. Um, so Saturday morning, we had two pretty brand new women, which is really exciting. I got to work with both of them, and they had a lot of questions for me, and that helps me with my boot camp process too. Like when other people have questions, about sparring. So that was really fun. Boot camp itself was interesting on Saturday. I was making a lot of silly mistakes, and I took a elbow to the head from Patrick Brophy, and it was really hard. And I jumped right back in, and then I got hit in the face with a stick by Michael Park like 2 seconds later because uh, my head was still swimming. Um, but I really like those guys, so I can't take it personally. Um, and that was another thing. It could have ruined my whole boot camp class, making a bunch of mistakes at the beginning with self-defense. Um, but I was able to kind of brush it off and dig deeper for the last couple of drills, which really were difficult, and I needed to, find inner strength to get through them. Um, and for not class training last week, Wednesday, I got my personal best time for running both a mile and a half and 2 miles, and that was with a injury and not feeling my best. And then this morning, I ran the hills with Lori Raymond, and it was the fastest time I had ever run them. So this taking that consistency conversation and looking outside myself and coming back in and looking deep is really helping with my running too, like to help me push through it. Um, so looking forward to class this week and really applying everything I learned last week to class this week and getting ready for testing next week.